We're continuing the Rashi's Yud Gimel Amud Beis. So one of the reasons why we paskin like Beis Hillel over Beis Shammai, Shemakdimim, Divrei Beis Shammai L'Divrayim. They had the humility to, even though they were in a disagreement, when they referenced Beis Shammai, they put his words first. The Kamilu Maisa Shalchu Zikna Beis Shammai V'Hada Zikna Beis Hillel. They first mentioned the elders of Beis Shammai, and then the elders of Beis Hillel. And what we see from the fact that Beis Hillel was ultimately the one who we follow in halacha, that one should always take the humble route in life, and also don't push things too hard. You work real hard to make yourself wealthy and to become big, and you see that it's just not going. So instead of just naturally staying the course, despite the fact that it's not happening, maybe you should take a more passive or low-key approach. You're still going to faraway places, putting yourself in high-pressure situations, high-profile situations. It's not happening. So just sort of accept the fact that, sort of play it low-key, and let it come to you. Don't force the action. As they say, let the game come to you. Shah omed slow. So if you are able to do that, then at the right time will stand still for you. If you let it naturally happen, then after a time you'll see that you'll have your moment. You have to just keep at it, and then Akash Baruch will give you opportunity to shine. Okay, back to the Gemara. Right before the Mishnah, Tanar Bonan, a few lines before the Mishnah, Tanar Bonan. Okay, for 2.5 years, Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel argued about a fundamental attitude and philosophy about Judaism. There were those who said, one of the two, that said it's better for a person, would have been more pleasant for a person not to have been born more than being born. You have somebody comes down in this world, and you have all these challenges and all these difficult situations, and therefore not based on the Hashem's perspective. Obviously, he did it for our benefit, but are we on the level to be able to see that and appreciate it? So from our perspective, it's better for a person not to have been born more than being born. The other one says no, that it's not. It's better that we were born and we are able to appreciate the gift of life that we have, to take advantage of the avodas Hashem in the time that we have. However, that machlokas went on for 2.5 years, and finally Nimnu v'Gomru, and they took account, and they finally decided, indeed, we don't really have the ability to appreciate the advantage of being born over not being born. However, one thing we can all agree on, we should akshav shivra. But now that we are here and we've been created and we're put on this world, one needs to search their actions and analyze them. And the other one says you have to check into your actions, or another version of what they said was look at your actions, not just past, but also present and future. And this is the way to succeed in life. So even though you might want to argue that maybe it's better, the challenges are too difficult, but Lamaisa, once we're here, this is what we have to do, and making sure that we don't do Averis and blow the opportunity. Okay, let's say Rashi, Yifashesh Ma'asav She'asa Kvar. So Yifashesh implies those which you already did. V'yivdok Averis She'biyado v'yizvada v'yoshuv. So you got to check into what you did in order to do tshuva of past indiscretions. The other version of what was said is Yamashesh Ma'asav. Going in Ba Mitzvah Liyadai, and this is more futuristically. If a mitzvah comes to your hand, This is what the mission of us teaches us. You got to calculate things. You got to weigh the pros with the cons. So in Ba Mitzvah Liyado Yichoshev Hefsed Mitzvah Keneged Schara, you have to calculate the loss of not doing the mitzvah against the reward of doing it. Don't just let it go because it's going to cost you some money or some or time, whatever else it might be. The reward is going to come. And the same thing if something negative comes by, it looks real tempting and you want to jump in, recognize the gain, the very short, fleeting gain that you have right now of this benefit that you're going to get by doing this Havera, against the loss of being paid back for the mistake that one makes. So it's all about calculating, it's all about thinking and figuring out what's really important, what's not, and that'll help us make the right decisions. Okay. So Shom talks about this Gemara in the beginning. Okay, very good. So we're ready for the next Mishnah. So enjoyed the Gadata while we could. Now we're back to reality here. Hakoire she'amru rechava. When we talk about a beam that needs to be a tefach wide in order to be a valid cross beam for a mavli, to validate carrying within the mavli. So Hakarish Amru Rechava, the Kari that was said, it's with Kedei L'Kabel Ariach. Okay, it's enough. It's got to be wide enough to hold a half brick. Riach Hati Levana, and what is in a riach? It's a half of a levana, which shall shoshet fachim, and a levena. It needs to be. A typical full brick was 3 by 3, and a half brick would then be 3 by 1.5. So it needs to hold 3 by 1.5. Variachatzi levana shel shoshet fachim. Dayol kora shdei ruchava tefach. So with this calculation, even though one would therefore say, so it's got to be 1.5 thick. No, it doesn't. It's enough for the kora to be a ruchava thick. Okay, tefach thick, kedei lekabel oriach l'rochvo. In order for the brick to be placed on the beam along its width, and if you place it along its width, that means if you take a 1.5 beam, a 1.5 brick, it's 1.5 wide, and you place it over a 1 tefach wide korah, you're going to have a quarter of a tefach sticking out on one side and a quarter of a tefach sticking out on the other side. Okay, you see the levana there, the levena there, and you see the half brick there. Okay, fine. Yeah. Okay. But it's along its width. That looks like it's along its length. Okay. Okay, but kedei l'kabel ariach l'rachva. Okay, now rechava kedei l'kabel ariach. Right, I mean, not looking at that picture so well. Ariach, the base is the korah. It's 1.5. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, fine. I mean. No, it's right. No, it is it is along the width. Okay, fine, yeah. So yeah, I misviewed that. So right, so you got to basically in that diagram we're at 171, right? So you cut that levena in half. So you got 3 by 1.5. You take the 1.5, you put it across the one. It doesn't look very proportionate, whatever. But bottom line is you got a half a tefach on both sides, and if you divide half a tefach, what? I mean, you total. And if you divide a half a tefach by 2, you got a quarter of a tefach on each side sticking out, but that does not seem to bother us. Okay, so again, Variach Hatzi Levena Shel Shoshet Tfachim, so Dayil Korish, they Rechav Tefach, they Lekabel Ariach L'Rochvo. Okay, right, according to its width, right, not its length. The length is 3, the width is 1.5, so you got to put the 1.5 on the beam. Rechava kedei lekabel ariach, and it's got to be wide enough in order to hold the ariach. It's got to be wide enough to hold their riach ubriya kedel kabel riach, and strong enough. It looks a little repetitious, but I guess I just want to lead into the next statement. It's got to be wide enough to hold the half brick, and it's got to be strong enough to hold the half brick. So it's two elements. It's the strength of the actual beam, and it's the width of the actual beam. How wide is it, and how strong is it? So both are required. You don't actually have to put the brick up on there. Seemingly, that's a pashas. They don't have to actually hold the brick, but they have to be able to hold the brick if you wanted to put a brick up there. As long as it's wide enough of a tefach to hold that 1.5 tefach wide brick, that would be enough. Okay, fine. Let's say the beam, the cross beam, was not of any thick material, but fakir, it was out of the lightest junk of straw or reeds. So does that work? Can you put that across and let that be your cross beam as a valid form of being able to carry in the mavli? So rono sokilu hishal mateches. Okay, yeah, it is okay because you view it. You have imagination here, and you view the straw, the reeds, as if it was metal. So you basically use your imagination to imagine a strong reed, and this is just a continuation of the concept that doesn't actually have to, as long as it's wide enough, it doesn't have to actually hold the brick. And if it was made out of metal, it would be able to hold the brick. So you view it as if it's metal. Akuma. If it was bent, you view it as if it was straight, okay, straightened out. So if it was bent, and because of the bend, it won't be able to hold the brick, because I guess there's a part of it that the brick, I guess it bends. I don't know, it bends down or bends outside. We'll see. Pasha bends outside. I don't know if he doesn't have a picture of Akuma. Kilu pshuta. Okay, you view it as if it was Pasha was straight. Agula, if it was round. Okay, yeah, okay, that's Agula. That's how he learns. Okay, fine. Agula ronas vakilu muruvas, and if it's rounded. Okay, if it's circular, you view it as if it was squared off. Okay, I guess that's the one on the right. Okay, if it was a rounded type of bamboo type of beam, so you view as if can you square off within that area a tefach wide area that would be enough to be wide enough for the beam, and the answer is it depends how. It depends on the circumference, and here's the rule of the circumference versus the diameter. Kol sheish bekefa shoshet tefachim. If the circumference is 3, yesh barochav tefach, the diameter is 1. So basically, 3-to-1 ratio is what's going on in a typical circle, in any circle, and therefore, if that rounded beam. The rounded beam would be able to be squared off inside of it, an area that's one across, that's perfectly legit. So it doesn't actually have to be squared or flattened, as long as you could view it as being flattened. So a lot of imagination going on in the Mishnah. That's a lot that appears you can use, and it seems that this is Rabbi Yehuda's sheet. It's a machlokas whether Rabbi Yehuda, holds all of these things, or just the beginning statement, and the rest is universal. Let's take a look at Rashi. So it's got to be wide enough to hold a half brick. And the reason why I need that is it has to have a certain level of permanence. It appears to have a level of permanence to be able to build a structure on it. Why do you put cross beams in structures? You build on those cross beams. So it's got to be a cross beam that has a legitimacy to be wide enough to be able to hold something that appears that it belongs. It fits. So how big is a half brick? It's a half of a brick of 3 tefachim. So if it's a half brick of a 3, so half of 3 is 1.5. Gemara obviously is going to ask, well, why is that? If you have to receive and hold the a brick of 1.5, shouldn't the korah be 1.5? Why is one tefach enough to hold the brick of 1.5? Why are we allowing that overlay on both sides? That protrusion. Okay. Haishel Shalkash, Rabbi Yehuda Kamalos. So Rashi learns that this is a continuation of Rabbi Yehuda. Akuma Shein Oriach Yochol Lamad Boy. It's bent, right? So if you look at right, so you can't put a brick on something that's so that's rounded. It can't hold the brick. Okay, so he brings Akuma Ronos Akili He Pshuta. Okay, so he's bringing different pshatim of slanted, right? So I guess a brick will also roll down. I guess that's the pshat on the left side. If okay, but I think conventional is the right side, that it can't hold a brick because it's too flimsy, and in terms of it doesn't have any stability to hold the brick, and the brick is going to sort of bend, come lean on the side and roll down. It's not going to stay because it's got that half moon shape there. Okay, agula, and if it's rounded, so it's got like the bamboo kind of look, which is the round on the right side. Okay, and you have to sort of carve it out. So agula, ve'eno riach yochel amar aleh, right? It's the brick cannot actually stay on a rounded, bamboo type of material. It's just not going to hold it. Aval avahi, okay, but it is thick enough. Shim techolek yehei rechav tefach. If you separate it and you take away the rounded part and you leave the square in the middle, then it will be wide enough. It just right now the shape is the problem, not the width. So ronos hakilu murvas, you view it as if it was squared. Nifseles kilu murvas nifseles ay chaluka. Nifseles o chaluka. Little bays. Also, kilihi chaluka, ay nifsalas umruvas. I'm not sure that the two different versions.
He's showing two different picture. The aleph and the base.
Oh.
Because we cut it in half, and the base we cut it in the middle.
Okay, fine. So you look at 172. Right, he quotes the Rashi there. So you're very good. So what's that?
So almost we cut it in half, so you have a...
Right, so you either can cut it in half and you have a base that's flat, even though the bottom is rounded, right? Or you square it off.
Squaring off, you're going to need a bigger circumference.
Right. Okay, which is why. Okay, I don't know. So then, you don't need the calculation that the Mishnah gives you. So which one is which? Nefselos o chaluka. Maybe that means a half one. Okay, but there are two. Okay, right. So if you look at the diagram, there are two ways of getting to that point where you're 4 wide. You're one wide. You're one wide in order to hold that brick. So but I'm not sure if you're right, because the bottom line is if diameter is 1, then that's all. Unless you mean you need a brick that's 1 all the way through. You need a whole square, so you need a bigger circle, maybe. Okay, it sounds like all you need is the diameter. Like the first picture, that's good enough. You don't need to have enough to make a full square 1 by 1. Because because then that's what's it called, an arc, when it not the diameter, right? In other words, the base is not the diameter. The base is that you can put a full square into the circle. Right, okay, but you have to go back to geometry. But
the diameter would be along the diagonal of that square.
Right. Okay. So you're saying the math does make sense, that you need less of a circular area for the aleph case than for the base case.
That's what it looks like.
I don't know, just somehow viscerally doesn't feel that way. I don't know.
He says Ayin Rashash on base. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Nefselis means carved, right?
Yeah, but they're both sort of carved. I mean, I'm not sure which one.
One's planed. One is just when you just plane the top. The other one you carve out. You carve it out so that a square piece comes out.
Yeah, but then how does that still make the measurement? You carved it out.
Well, it makes it more of a measurement because you've got that one tefach even at a higher place in the circle, right? In other words, the flat surface is a tefach wide. If it's a tefach wide already, not at the diameter, right? No, the midpoint would actually be more than a tefach.
Well, isn't that the one they were showing you that it's only one across?
Yeah.
So if you plane it, you still have the one, but if you're starting to carve out to get it a square in there, you would be losing. I mean, it seems to show that there's still some left.
But that in Aleph, you're using up the circular area to create the width of one, so you're allowed to use that. If you need more space, you need a bigger circle in Beis than an Aleph because the Aleph
right.
you can just forget even though you're not having one all the way around the square, but and it's getting narrower as you go down. That doesn't bother me. But the Beis one needs the one all the way as a full square. So it sounds like it seems you definitely need more space for the Beis than for the Aleph.
I think so. But doesn't it look like it's all one piece?
Yeah, it looks like one piece, but I guess
you're wondering how is the Beis working?
He didn't want to make too many circles. He tried to save on the ink or something. Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
What? I guess he has a source for how he drew it.
Well, I mean, and also Rashi does say Nifselis o Chalukah. So I guess Chalukah is the Aleph and Nifselis is the Beis, right? Is that what you're assuming referring to? In other words, if you just plane it out and just cut the thing in half, you make it smooth across, that's good enough. Or do you have to actually carve it, meaning you have to come at it from all four sides. Okay, but the formula is Kol Shesh B'Kefa Gimel Tfachim Shetzricha Chut Aruch Gimel Tfachim Lakifa Saviv. Right, that if you have a string that will go 3 tefachim around as a circumference, biyadua, it then is for sure sheish baroch of tefach im techalik. If you're going to smoothen out, you're going to find a tefach in its diameter. What? Yeah, right. We got to get Mr. Barkai back in here.
Right, that's the 1, 2.
Again, it's almost like this about pi.
Right. Right. That's the last. Right. The left part of it. 3 strings and.
Right, he's got 1, 2, 3 going around with
right.
the string and then 1 across.
Okay, fine. Okay, so let's get into the Gemara here. Save the math for another time. Tefach. So the Gemara starts off, why in the world is a tefach good enough? Tefach u'metzah, you shoot a tefach and a half. Okay, kiv in the rochav l'kabel tefach, since it's wide enough. And the Gemara's answer is, since it's wide enough to receive a tefach, idechati tefach malvin le betina. Mashu mehagisa, mashu mehagisa v'kaima. And the answer is, because the way the structure would normally work, I guess this is considered relatively normal, is that as long as it's a tefach thick, then all you would need is a little bit of plaster to fill up the space of the other quarter of a tefach on either side, and that would sort of solidify the brick and make it permanent. So I guess that's a typical way of doing it. So it would be a normal construction to have a beam, a tefach wide, that would have a 1.5 tefach brick on it, and then the plaster on the cement or whatever on the 2 outside areas would close it up. So I guess the Gimel, what does he have there? Aleph Beis Gimel. The Gimel is the tina, right? It's a cement. That's where you put the cement to close it up. So he leaves it as an angle as opposed to a square. Okay, right? Is that, or maybe not? Am I seeing it right? Okay. Okay. Yeah, bishifua, right. He says that in a slant. L'kor betina, let's Rashi. Malben le l'kor betina, mamreach betit bishifua. You fill it up with this lime or cement type of material, this plaster in its slant, mole etzba mikan ukenegdoi mikan. Okay, the size of a finger's worth from one side, and then again on the other side, mashvasol korah, and that makes it into a korah. Malvin loshen levenim. So the loshen of Malvin is you make it, you complete the brick. So you make it into a brick by extending the cement, and everything is good. Okay, so that's why one tefach is enough. You don't need the full tefach and a half. Weiter, Omar. Amar Rav Huna, Korish Amru. Okay, when we talk about the beam, tzricha shetei bria, it needs to be strong enough to lekabel riach in order to hold the brick. Umamidei kora eina tzricha shebrein kedei lekabel kora v'riach. But if you have supports for that beam, you don't have the beam lying straight across, flat on the surface, but you have mamidei kora. Okay, so he puts that as those little, supports. What are they called? Brackets or something? Whatever. So you have things underneath it that are knocked into the wall to support it. So do they have to be strong enough to hold the brick, or they're just good enough to hold the beam that will hold the brick? So he says they don't have to be that strong. They don't have to be of the same ilk as the actual cross beam that's strong enough to hold the brick. So one more time. However, umamide kor ena tzrichan shebriyan kedel kabel riach. Rav Chizda disagrees, and Amar echad avi echad zeh tzrichan shebriyan kedel kabel kor variach. When you talk about the supports, they too have to be of the same type of strength that would hold the beam and the ariach as well. I'm not sure why would you have a support that wouldn't be able to. I guess it'll hold the beam, but it won't hold the brick. Once it won't hold the brick, then I'm not sure what are you supporting, because it's gonna collapse. So,
its weight is displaced over the whole board.
What?
It's not wide enough to hold the brick.
Yeah, he says, but it doesn't sound like it's referring to the width. It sounds like it's referring to the strength. Brian. It doesn't have to be of the strength to be able to hold it.
How is that possible?
Well, because the weight would be displaced over the whole board. So the peg or those supports wouldn't necessarily need a hold.
I mean, again,
right?
In other words,
if you
right.
try to suspend the brick from the peg, it may not hold it, but when you've had it over the board, it displaces that weight, I think.
Right. Well, I mean, again, in other words, right? If you put the brick, because now you do have the board there as well. So the if you add the brick, that will create weight that the support will not be able to handle. It can handle the beam, but it couldn't handle the brick. The beam, let's say, is lighter than the brick. So the beam it can handle. Okay, the beam itself is strong enough to hold it, but if you just put that brick on top of that support, it would not work. I think that's what it's saying. The support is shvach. It'll support the beam that's there right now, some nice light beam you bought in Home Depot, but if you put a brick instead of it on top of it, that it would not support it. And one says we care about that, whether it will be able to support it, and the other one says it would not. Okay.
What's that? But the Gemara says l'kala korah ve'ariach.
Right, because according to...
So it's not just the ariach, it's both.
It is both.
Again, Korish Amru tzrich shei bria kedel kabel ariach umamidei. No, that's the first. Umamidei korah ein tzrich shei brian kedel kabel kor variach.
This has to be both.
It doesn't have to be strong enough to hold both. I'm good enough to hold the beam, because the beam is lighter. But if you add the brick, I'm not strong enough, and therefore that's not good. And the other one says, no, I don't care if I'm not able to hold the beam and the brick. That doesn't.
The beam might be heavier than the brick, but that's.
But combined, it can't hold.
It's combined.
But combined it can't hold. You're saying, okay,
Yeah.
okay, fine. Let's see Rashi. Let's see Rashi. Umamide kore. Minicha al gabe yesedos. That's why I don't. That does not look like a yosei to me. I don't know. That might be a different rishon because it sounds from Rashi that you're actually putting it on pegs. What? Okay, that's a yosei. I guess it's a yosei sticking out this way. Maybe. Okay, maybe. Okay, I guess a peg coming out of the wall. I picture pegs in the ground, but okay, whatever. It doesn't.
Doesn't look very trustworthy.
Huh?
Doesn't look trustworthy.
Yeah, whatever. So let's see Rashi again.
It's not that one.
Umamide akora iminicha al gabi yesedos. If you put the beam on top of pegs, ein tzrichen shibriin lekabel kora variach. You don't need the pegs to be strong enough to hold both the beam and the brick. Elakabel kora levat. As long as it's able to hold the kora, that's all I care about. The loy yave ariach haloi, because you're not putting the brick actually on it. It's a theoretical situation. Ubekorahu debin and kavius. Okay, it's in the Korah you need it to be strong enough. Keicha de teve heker ma'alya. You need the board itself to be strong, that it should be a real heker, a real recognizable situation. Avamida lo tole akera b'didu. But the recognition part doesn't depend on those pegs coming out, and therefore those supports are irrelevant to me. And the fact that they can't hold the board and the brick is not going to bother me. On the other hand, the other Mandiyam says, no, echad zav echad zeh, kora boy brius, the oriach. Okay, the kora needs the strength of being able to hold the brick. Umamida boy brius, the kovriach, and its support needs the strength to hold the beam and the brick. So he goes more conventional that if you're going to support the beam with this support, then you're going to have that support be strong enough to also hold the brick on top of it. So we don't use that kind of imagination to that level. Because Machlok is Rav Bar Huna and Rav Chizda. Okay, let's proceed. Okay, Rav Sheshes, now up to Rav Sheshes. Hiniach koral gabe mavui. Okay, let's say another halach. There's a new halach. If you put a beam across the mavui, as conventional wisdom tells you to do, uprasala marcelas. But you're getting a little smart, too smart for yourself when you put a mat, okay, across the beam. Okay, so you're trying to, for some reason, you want to make a mechitza something out of it, and there you have it. So you spread a nice sheet or mat across the beam to, I guess you want some privacy. Maybe you want to do some stuff behind the in the mavli. You don't want people looking inside. So the only trouble is you cover the beam. So right now you can barely see the beam. According to that picture, you can see the page number 176. You see the extension, okay, of those beams. We don't see the actual cross beam itself. The beam in a karka shosha, and so if you had it all the way down, then fakir, then you're in really good shape, because I'm way better than a korah. I've got now closed up the wall. Okay, I'm completely closed in. So who needs a beam when you've got a full-fledged mechitza? The trouble is that you kept the mechitza 3 tfachim off the ground. So you can't pull a lovin on this one. And the 3 tfachim is also a shear that goats can jump underneath and get in. Okay, so if you minakarka shosha kora enkan mechitza enkan, you've blown it from both sides. You don't have the beam, you don't have the mechitza. 1 second. Uparzal machsels v'gim minakarka shosha kora enkan mechitza enkan. Kora enkan daha michsei. You don't have the beam because you covered it. Mechitza enkan devle mechitza shagdim boikim, but you don't have the mechitza either because you've made it too high to allow the goats to jump in, and they break that concept of it. If you have any ahavim of trying to go down with the wall and try to pull a godachas kind of thing, you can't pull it off when you have a mechitza that's 3 tfachim off the ground. So you've blown it from both ends. Okay, let's take a look at Rashi. Marcellus, lios mechitza liafas koach hetera. So you're trying to make a mechitza to make it stronger, to make the koach of the heter, to make it more enclosed. So you think you're pulling a frummy shtick over here to make it better than just a flimsy crossbeam. So he's warning you, you're trying to make it better, but you're making it worse. Okay, shagadim baikim bay hayil v'goyva shleisha. Since it's 3 tfachim off the ground, have mechitza tuluya. It's a hanging mechitza of ena materes. Hanging mechitza, as we said, by water we allowed you to hang that. Play that game, but you can't play by a regular mavli. It's not going to work, and you've blown the validity of the mavli. Okay, weiter, back to the Gemara. Tanabonon. Korah hayotzes b'kosel zeh ve'non negas b'kosel zeh. You have a beam that goes out from. Okay, we're ready for 177. You got a beam that goes out from one side. Ve'non negas b'kosel zeh, but does not reach over to the other side. It can't quite reach the other wall. Okay, but you're close, but you're not all the way there. V'chein shtei koros, or you have 2 beams that come out from 2 opposite sides. Achaz yotzes mikol zeh, v'achaz yotzes mikol zeh. They don't nagazu b'zu, but they don't quite hit each other. So either you don't hit one wall, or you're starting from both sides of the wall, but you don't meet in the middle to connect the beam as one. So our guts tell us what's necessary. Our good old friend Lovewood comes by to tell us again. If the distance between those 2 things are 3, then you don't have to bring another beam to connect it. Whether it's a din in being away from the wall, whether it's a din and whether this is the more shtei koros. Right, this is 177. Is the 2 coming from 2 different sides? There should have been another one before this of the. It doesn't hit the wall. He has it, but we just did 176.
His earlier. His 97.
Oh yeah, it's 97. Okay, well, I think we got it down. Yeah. So pachas b'shosha in tzarich lavi kar acheres shosha, but if it's 3 tfachim already, tzarich lavi kar acheres. Rishim Gamliel Aimer, our good friend Rishim Gamliel disagrees, and he says pachas me'arboy in tzarich lavi kar acheres. Okay, he says the share of Lovewood is not 3, it's 4. We've already learned him before. However, once it hits abot, tzarich lavi kar acheres. Okay, v'chein bein koros hamatima zu bezu. Okay, teil kabel riach. Okay, or so similarly, if you have 2 beams, 2 cross beams that are sort of partners that are parallel each other, but neither one is thick enough to get the job done. Neither one has the ability to hold the beam by itself, as you see on 180. Okay. 178. Okay, so right, we know 3. So they are parallel to each other. Okay, and if you combine them, you're going to be able to do it. But each one by itself can't. Okay, im mekablos ariach l'rochvo tefach ein tzarich lavi kar acheres. V'yim lav tzarich lavi kar acheres. If they're able together, able to hold an ariach along its width, the amount of a tefach, then you don't have to bring another one. Then you can combine the 2, and they can get the job done as a tag team. They're partners in supporting the ariach. But if they're not able to be that wide, tzarich lavi kar acheres, you have to bring another beam. Rishim ben Gamliel in Mekabos Ariach LaOrchai Shleisha. Rishim ben Gamliel disagrees. He says I have a higher threshold of what's necessary. They have to be able to hold the brick lengthwise, not widthwise, which is the length is 3 tfachim. In Mekabos Ariach LaOrchai Shleisha ein tzarich lavi kar acheres v'yimlav tzarich lavi kar acheres. Okay, if not, then you have to bring another beam, because you can't get the job done. So he says, if you're not going to do it by yourself, then you raise the bar, okay, so to speak, to require it to be 3 tfachim, okay, wide to be able to carry. Does he have a picture there for that? It looks like maybe then. Yeah, because that's all the width, but the Rishon Gamliel holds you need it to be the length. Okay.
Yeah, he says you read the caption.
What?
He says in the caption,
okay, fine. I guess, again, ink was a problem a little bit. Okay, now, let's, oh wow, 7:45, I'll go pick this up tomorrow.